Moving into a new apartment was supposed to be the start of something better. I'd found a great place downtown, an old building with plenty of charm, tall ceilings, and creaky wooden floors. It was the kind of place I could finally call home. My first night went smoothly, but on the second night, I noticed something strange. Just past midnight, I heard a faint creaking sound coming from the wall of my bedroom. At first, I thought it was just old pipes settling, but the noise was too deliberate. It was slow, rhythmic, almost like breathing. I got out of bed and traced the sound to the far wall. To my shock, a thin outline of a door began to appear, faint at first, then more defined, as if it had been there all along but hidden just under the surface. I rubbed my eyes, convinced I was imagining things. But no, it was real. The door was old, with a tarnished brass handle and faint etchings around the frame. The wood looked brittle, ancient, like it hadn't been touched in years. I reached out to touch it, and the second my fingers brushed against the handle, the room felt colder, as if something had sucked all the warmth out of the air. I yanked my hand back, shivering. I couldn't shake the feeling that the door was watching me, waiting for me to open it. But a part of me knew I shouldn't. Instead, I backed away, planning to ignore it and pretend it wasn't there. But as I turned to leave, I heard a faint whisper coming from the other side. "Come closer." The voice was soft, laced with something both inviting and menacing. My heart pounded, and a strange curiosity filled me, pulling me toward the door. I knew it was dangerous, but I couldn't resist. I just had to know what was waiting behind it. The next night, I couldn't sleep. The door's presence seemed to grow stronger with every passing hour. I tossed and turned, but my mind was fixated on it, wondering what lay behind. Finally, I got out of bed and approached it again, the air growing colder with each step. This time, when I placed my hand on the handle, I didn't pull back. Slowly, I turned the knob, the sound of metal scraping echoing in the silence. The door swung open, revealing a narrow, dark staircase descending into the unknown. The air smelled stale and damp, and a low humming filled the space beyond, like a deep, throbbing heartbeat. I hesitated but felt an undeniable urge to go down, like something was calling me. I took the first step, then another, until I was swallowed by the shadows. The deeper I went, the more the wall seemed to close in around me, and the colder it became. Strange symbols lined the walls, etched into the stone, and the further I went, the more I could make out faint, unsettling whispers. They weren't English, or any language I recognized, just hushed murmurs that seemed to slither into my ears and coil around my thoughts. At the bottom of the stairs, I found a large room, lit dimly by a single, flickering candle. In the center of the room was a table covered in ancient artifacts, dried herbs, small animal bones, and jars filled with murky liquids. At the center was a large, worn book, its cover adorned with strange symbols matching those on the walls. As I reached for it, the whispers grew louder, swirling around me in a deafening crescendo. The candle flickered, and in the shadows, I thought I saw figures moving, watching me. My hand froze above the book as I realized the truth. Whatever ritual had taken place here was unfinished, and by coming down, I had become part of it. I don't remember how long I stood there, paralyzed by fear. The shadows shifted around me, their movements fluid and unnatural, almost like they were breathing. I felt eyes on me, countless invisible gazes piercing through the darkness. My hand trembled as I reached for the book, but something inside me screamed to stop. The whispers had become voices now, chanting in unison, urging me to finish what had been started. Panicked, I stumbled backward, knocking over a jar filled with some dark, viscous liquid. The jar shattered, and the liquid oozed across the floor, releasing a nauseating smell that made me gag. The shadows seemed to pulse with excitement, drawn to the broken glass and spilled liquid. I could see them clearer now, twisted forms barely visible in the candlelight, clawing their way closer. With every ounce of strength, I turned and ran back up the stairs, the wall seeming to close in on me with each step. The air grew colder, the whispers louder, almost deafening now, their words filling my head with images of blood, rituals, and sacrifices. I could feel them following, pressing closer, as if the shadows themselves were reaching out to pull me back. When I finally burst through the door into my bedroom, I slammed it shut, breathing hard, and backed away. But as I did, I noticed something chilling. The door had begun to fade, its outline blurring as if it had never been there at all. The whispers quieted, replaced by a tense, heavy silence. I sat in my bed, shaking, as I watched the door disappear, the last traces of it vanishing into the wall. The next day, I searched every inch of the wall, but there was no sign of a door, no indication of a hidden passage. It was as if it had never existed. I left the apartment soon after, but sometimes, late at night, I still hear faint whispers, calling me back to finish what I'd started.